Okay, next thing I'm going to do is install the spindle, but before I do I want to show you something. This is the gear that drives the spindle, and it goes right there. There's a part in here you're not going to get to see because I've already done it. There's a keyway with a key that's a press fit in there. And the reason I've already done this is because the only way I could figure out how to do it was with a C-clamp. One foot of the clamp in here, and the screw end of the clamp out here. I obviously did this before I painted because I didn't want to tear up my fresh paint job. The reason it's a press fit in there is because this rides up and down the spindle. If it wasn't, it would come out and rub on either here or up here and grind away at itself and those other two surfaces. So that's why it's a press fit. Okay, now I'm going to install the spindle. And here it is. It's rather large. There's my whole forearm to give you an idea of scale. My elbow's right here. This spindle has a 1/2 inch collet at the end of it. And you can see I've painted in right there, 1/2 inch. And the set screw for the collet goes right there. Now this hole up here, I'm not for sure, but I believe it's so you could stick a screwdriver or something in there to pry out a drill bit if it got stuck. Just moving the table out of my way. On these threads goes 2 jam nuts. I want to go ahead and run it all the way down. Okay, now I can let go of that thing. It's heavy. Now I'll get you a little closer shot of what I'm doing next. There we go. Come on, you can focus better than that camera. That's better. Ooh. Oh well, it doesn't want to focus on that shaft. Now here is the other nut. And a thrust bearing. I think I'm going to go ahead and pause my video for a second, go grease this up, and I'll be right back. And I'm back with a freshly greased up bearing, which goes right there. Now it's not going to seat down all the way because it's sitting on those threads. I still have to move those nuts. You'll see why in a few minutes. Okay. Here's the washer that goes on top, and you can see easily the trench in this one, probably way better than the other bearing, where it has just eaten away after years and years of use. Put a little bit of oil on that. There we go. And here's the next part. This is what the, if you manually downfeed it, there's little dogs. One goes in that hole, one goes in that hole. And those little dogs attach to a mechanism which attaches to the manual feed lever. And that's how you can manually move it up and down. Now up here in the front is a hole that a pin goes into to keep the lead screw from turning freely, because otherwise it would just spin in the half nut all day long and not actually do anything. So you have to keep it from rotating at this end. And over here is a slot, and this slot is for oiling. And it kind of shows there. It goes all the way down and comes out down here. Now the slot down at the bottom is a little smaller. Not sure why, but it just is. So I'm going to naturally put the bigger hole at top so I can get my oil can in there to oil it. So there that goes. And it faces this way with that little nub facing out. Now I'll take my oil and oil it up. There we go. Had to get my little cookie sheet because the oil can was peeing on the floor. Oiling in every part off camera right now. I'm back. This is another washer. Goes there. And I'll put a little oil on these threads before I put the nuts on. Now these nuts, the two up top, are left-hand threads. I really don't know why, other than maybe the lead screw may grab and try to turn a right-hand thread. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. And these threads are a little gummy. Gonna have to finish that up with my wrench. Hope that's good enough, because that's as tight as I can get it. Okay, I'm going to pause, go grab some parts, and I'll be right back. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is install the lead screw, which is right here. Give you an idea of how long it is. Now the end with the cross hole and the notch cut in it goes at the bottom. Plain end goes at the top. Now to get it in, it has to be fed through the half nut. And there it is. Now things get a little tricky because I have, let's see, 5 parts that all go right here. And they all have to be put in at the same time. So here we go. First part is this. It's a collar that holds 2 little keys that go on each side of this that keep this attached to the spindle. So I'll lift the lead screw and slide that on. And I'll take one of my clamps there, that keeps that out of my way. You see I just put the clamp told up. Next thing is this. This is some sort of a bushing material, padding material. I really don't know what it is. It's not metal, magnets don't stick to it. I'm guessing some sort of very dense plastic. No idea. If somebody knows, please tell me. Otherwise, it's a mystery forever. But anyway, this goes. I have to move my clamp down. Oops. This goes in between the lead screw and the spindle. Then we have 2 half ring. Let me get my hand so you can see. 2 half ring keys that go here. And these keys make the lead screw a bigger diameter, which won't pass through the top of the collar, so it holds it captive basically. Then we have this part. Remember I said this bracket here keeps the lead screw from spinning. This part goes in here, the other end goes in here. Now to do this, I have to lift the lead screw. I have to move my stupid clamp again. Oh, hold on. It's about to make a bad mistake. You gotta let the collar down, lift up, put this in like that, then the collar screws on. Yeah, I probably ought to put a little bit of oil in there. What do you think? Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Lock the half nut to hold in place. Put a little bit of oil on this, whatever that is, bushing material. On top and the bottom. Now there's also on this, there's a little bump on the middle. There's a little dimple in the top of the shaft, and that locates it, keeps it from moving around. Now, I'll go down till this bottoms out on those keepers, that's the proper name, on the keepers, which is right there, and then I'll back it off about a half turn. And then the nut under it, I'll raise up until it meets the bottom of this, locking them both in place. Wow, that stuck. There it goes. There. Oops, I bumped my camera. Sorry about that. And now there's all these gaps in here. Remember, I took these nuts and ran them all the way down. This is why. Because now I can raise this and run my nuts up until all the gap is gone. Okay, so now I'm back at my workbench. Now I'm assembling the assembly for the manual feed of the quill. There's 3 main pieces to it. Well, 4. The 4th one is off camera at the moment. There's this bracket and 2 smaller brackets. And on here, this engages a handle that's about 18 inches long for the manual feed. Now I'm going to go grab some bolts out of my box and then we'll put this together. Okay. Remember earlier I was talking about there was dogs for the auto feed? Well, this is them. These go into that brass collar. And this thing moves up and down, which moves the collar up and down, which ultimately moves the spindle up and down. Now it's very strange and I don't know why. One of these is on the end of the bolt and you use this nut to jam up against the bracket to lock it in place. The other one is on a short screw for flathead and you use a set screw to lock it in place. I'm not sure why they chose to go with 2 different styles on the same part. They both have the same function, so I really don't know why. But it is interesting. Okay, I fed that in dry without oil because I did get a little bit of paint in the threads. Yeah, see, that was in the threads. That's why I didn't use oil, because I didn't want to get that paint in my oil. little bit of oil. Now this one does bottom out because, can I get that where you can see it? Yeah, I can. The hole on the end is only big enough for this dog to come through, not the whole thread. But on the other side, it's big enough for the whole thing to go through. Very interesting. Yeah, on this one I think I'll be smart and put the oil in the threads. In the threaded hole, I mean. This way I don't get it on my hands. And again, I'm fighting paint in the threads. And a little bit of oil in the set screw hole too. Take a screwdriver and try to scrape some of that excess paint. Let's try it now. Much better. Okay, on the other end we have these two S-shaped pieces. This is what attaches this whole assembly to the big casting that holds everything together. Now, I don't know if it really matters, but aesthetically it's nice to me. On one side of these, I have no idea how well this shows, it probably doesn't. But on one side it's like these are chamfered, on the other side it's a hard edge. It's just personal preference. I'm going to put the chamfered edges out. And just taking nuts off of bolts real quick. Okay. On the other end, one of these holes is threaded, one is just a through hole. This is what goes on the big casting, and then this long bolt bolts these two together, and there's a mounting point in between. Yeah, I keep saying the oil everything, but I keep forgetting to do it myself. I'm gonna go grab a wrench. Oh, come on. There is a lot of junk in that hole. Now I'll put this jam nut on there. Just finger tight for now until I get everything put together. I want to go grab a socket. This is crazy. Just think all this trouble's just because there's a little bit of paint in the threads. Yeah, see that junk on the end of the bolt? That's what's giving me all the trouble. Just a little bit of paint. See, now I can unscrew it with my hands. And I drop it. Oops. Still giving me a bit of trouble. I think I got it now. Cool. Okay, now I'm going to pause the video, take this over to the drill press and install it.